so I am going to start with this script I share here, changing level with trigger in Unity. So this script, after you download it, you should put it into your project folder under Assets. And I create a folder called script. You should place all your script here just to make things more organized. So the one I'm going to demo is the move scene script, which you can find it and download over here. Okay, so what is the goal for the script is pretty obvious, is moving a scene. For example, maybe you will have a trigger in the scene that maybe it's this house. So when the viewer approaches the house, it will trigger the script and then we will move to a different scene. And this scene might be maybe an interior scene, so it will give the viewer this kind of perspective they enter the house. Some other things you can do is maybe if you can creating a platform or like in the water, for example, and when the viewer they go into the water, instead of seeing the weird beneath of water with no texture, they will restart from the beginning of where they started. So tell them, okay, you should go, you should not go there. If you go there, you have to start over. So the move scene could be used in all kinds of different situations. You call it. So how to use it? So first of all, make sure you have the script in your asset folder. So the move scene script. So where you need to place this move scene is the trigger. Okay, so actually let's just use this house as an example. When we touch the house, the move scene script will be activated and the player will be teleported to a beginning of another scene. Okay, so what we will need to do is first of all, select the house, and you can either drag and drop the script on the object, but sometimes be careful, don't drop it on the terrain and then lost it. So the better way is actually click on Add Component and find Script, and then choose the Move Scene script. Okay, so make sure this Move Scene script is placed on that trigger. So what you need to put in here is, first of all, what level, which is the next scene you wanted to load. Okay, so in our asset, in my scene folder, I have scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. Scene 3 is the current scene. So I'll just put it in scene 1. Okay, you can actually place it for the same scene, or scene 3. Oops. Lots of stuff in my desktop right now. Okay, scene 3. You can put it in the current scene. It doesn't matter. Or you can put it in another scene in your project folder. That will work too. Okay. What are other things we need to do? Okay. So so the script we downloaded, you don't have to type it, but it's still good to you can select it and see under Inspector, see what's in the script. Those will help you to remind you what are the things you need to set up. So here you can see the move scene is not long at all, but here we need to create a collider, and it need to be a trigger. And here we need to find a tag, which is the player. So when the player touches the trigger of the collider, this move scene will load. Okay, so this is what this script is talking about. Okay, so we just tell what scene we wanted to load, but we haven't set up the collider and the trigger and the player. Okay, so this is our next step. Okay, so first of all, start with the trigger and the collider. Okay, so hopefully you know what the collider is. Okay, earlier the house doesn't have a collider, so we can walk through it. But now we add this box collider. So make sure if your object don't have a collider yet, make sure you go to Physics and add a collider. Okay, so this collider earlier, it worked for us to not walking past it. But now this collider can also work as a trigger as long as you click is trigger. So in this case, this is what we want to do. We want to make this collider a trigger. So when the player walk into this green box, the script will be activated. Okay, so I actually will make the collider a little bit bigger. Okay, so whenever the player walk into range, the script will be triggered. Okay, next we need to define the player. Okay, so That means when the player touches the collider, this load screen will be activated. Who is the player? The player obviously is the FPS controller. Okay, but how can we define it and tell Unity that it is the player? Okay, so here, compare tag. You can see this player need to be placed on a tag. Okay, so let's select our FPS controller, and up here, tag. Now it's untagged. So we need to choose player. Okay, cool. So I think all the three things on the trigger, the player, and also the scene that we need to move is set up. But there's one more step, is in the, let's see, the build setting. Okay, so in the build setting is telling you when you export your game, if you don't put the screen in build, it will only be exporting the current scene. But in our case, we actually in scene 3 right now. Okay, so we make our the move scene script. Earlier we set it up and make it to move to scene 1. So if scene 1 is not in the build setting, this script will not work. Okay, so make sure you have all the scene that you have in your the script you picked need to be in the scene and build. So how can we add the scene you want to pick? Just go find your the project panel. You can see all the scene we have here. Just drag and drop scene 1 over here. Okay, the order actually matter. If you have scene 1 on top, when the game first loads, it will actually go to scene 1. So we actually want to start with scene 3, which is the current scene. Okay, so I think that's everything we need to do. So let's hit play. Let's get this out of the way. So when we approach the house, touch that trigger, now you can see we are in scene 1. Okay, so that's all you need to do. And a quick recap. First of all, add the move scene script in the low level. Okay, and then make sure you type exactly the same. Lowercase and uppercase make a difference, so make sure it's exactly the same. No space in between if there's no space in between. Okay, so add move scene on the object. Make sure you have the low level, type it in here. Okay, and then this trigger should have a box collider and the is trigger should be checked. And your FPS controller should have a tag called player. And yeah, that's it. And also, yeah, don't forget in file build setting, you should have all the scenes that you want to teleport and the current scene in the scene in build. And the script will work as a charm.